Okay, so I'm now reading The Autistic Guide to Self-Discovery. By Saul Smith. Anyways, so as I said, I jump between books. So I'm currently in the preview mode in Amazon. And I'm reading a bunch of things. I advanced a bit in my Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'm in page 196. But I'm jumping around. So I've been reading a bit about this book, The Autistic Guide to Self-Discovery. And I've read currently, it doesn't have the accurate numbering when you are in preview mode of the book, but I've read basically the introduction currently. It's Friday. I'm having a coffee. It's 9:30 in the morning. Or is it? I think it's closer. Oh, it's already 10 a.m. So maybe I'll vlog throughout the day to see what I'm reading. I read and smoke by my window. I have this cute window in the kitchen. We've got this cute little sombrero troll. Is this? Oh no, is this a troll? Fix it, sombrero. Currently reading the part where it's talking about being diagnosed. There are 3 paths to diagnosis. The first is being called out when you're young by a parent or a teacher, taken to a doctor, evaluated, and boom. This is common for autistics with high support needs, whether due to learning or behavioral issues that make daily life very difficult for many reasons. Most of those caught early are male and white. Yeah, it's a privilege thing. Self-diagnosis is what a lot of the late identified autistics are going through. There are online tests you can take, and a lot of self-education you can undergo. There is misinformation too. Lots of folks are afraid we have an autistic agenda, where we recruit folks to believe they're autistic on TikTok in order to do something nefarious. What I like about reading on an ebook reader on a Kindle is that I have a dictionary. Well, every time I pick up the camera, it disconnects for some reason. I don't know why. So I don't know where it stopped, but I was explaining that I can mark a word when I'm reading in the Kindle app on my ebook. Oh, here it goes. Nefarious. You can't hear. Let me make it louder. Nefarious. And I'll read out the word because sometimes I'm not sure how to pronounce the word. So nefarious is wicked or criminal. Okay. I assume the motive isn't clear to me yet because I haven't been let in on the conspiracy. So anyways, I'm reading this book and I'm sort of in this self-discovery of being autistic / neurodivergent. And I've sort of, a few years ago, have been researching and thinking about me maybe being autistic. And then sort of because it is kind of like, I don't want to go through a process of being diagnosed, because the process in itself is very overwhelming and exhausting, and honestly, I don't have the energy to deal with that. So I decided, the sort of overarching neurodivergent label explains a lot of sort of what I'm dealing with or how I go through life. So I sort of used that general label and that was sufficient. And also because I was in survival mode, I didn't really have the time to sort of get too stuck on the autistic label of it all. because it felt like a big label to take on. And as a trans person as well, I was dealing with that. And that was taking a lot of my energy as well. So I sort of put it aside and went into survival mode, and for the last few years I've been basically putting a lot of my energy into so I don't know where I stopped. I paused the video for a second. I had to take care of my dog. She's an older dog and she pees in the house a lot, so I heard her slipping, which is usually an indication for that. Anyways, so now that I've sort of gotten to this stage of my life where I'm independent, sufficient in my independence and stuff like that, I'm having some difficulties with being basically burned out, and it's taking a toll on me. So I'm trying to find ways to alleviate it, or find ways to understand what's going on exactly. And in therapy, my therapist always uses neurodivergence as a label to sort of explain everything I'm going through. But lately they've really been using the autistic label, or in the last few sessions. And suddenly the framing of that makes a lot of sense. And again, the framing of that is not just for the sake of the label, it's for the sake of finding tools that can help me out. And essentially, I've been doing a lot of masking, and that masking is taking a toll on me. So one, I want to see how I can mask less, or be more conscious of my masking. And what that has been doing to me, being aware of that masking actually now, is even exhausting me more, because I see how much I'm masking, and like suddenly I'm aware when I'm masking, and that's exhausting me, rather than sort of having this default mechanism of masking that happens without my awareness, and then being burned out, and knowing that I'm burnt out in a very kind of general way of like, oh, I'm around people. People are exhausting me. So instead of thinking of it in that sort of generalized terms, and then wanting to just like be at home and shut down, which is still what I'm doing, I'm realizing that it's the masking around people that's really exhausting me. So I'm kind of like, I don't really need to trace my steps back to my childhood and all that stuff. I know exactly what that looked like. But now framing it in kind of an autistic lens, I don't know if it's changing anything, but really I just want to see how I can mask less, how I can have better tools to deal with things. But really it's the masking thing that's getting to me. Anyways, so I've been looking for some books. Some people have popped on TikTok for me. This person, Saul Smith. Yeah, Saul Smith has popped on my TikTok, recommended his own book. There's somebody else as well, can't remember his name right now. He talks about ADHD and autism on TikTok, and he also has a YouTube and a podcast. So I've been sort of listening to him as well. And those discussions, you know, are solidifying this this description, this label as being accurate. Now, I know people have issues with self-diagnosis and stuff like that. But I do have a thing with authority and going through systems where, you know, the way they criterionize different labels in a very narrow scope doesn't fit me well. Also, like when I transitioned and I had to supposedly go through some main channels to transition, I didn't go I didn't go down that path. I went down my own path. I didn't want to get permission from anybody. I wanted to do it on my own accord. I didn't want to have anybody tell me if I'm trans enough or not trans enough, and that proved to be the correct way for me to go about things. And now I'm living my authentic self, and it couldn't be more right for me. So I feel in that respect, it's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same. I don't really need to get that diagnosis. Because at the end of the day, it's what I connect to, it's what feels true to me, and ends up giving me the tools I need to go through life in less agony. So I'm not really looking for some sort of official diagnosis. You know, in the past few days, I've had a real difficulty concentrating. And this goes to the ADHD sort of label. Now, I did go and try to get an official diagnosis for this because I've been having trouble concentrating my whole life. And I went through this official channel to get a diagnosis, and I did these tests, and these tests were specifically also, they were ADHD, but they checked also for like emotional, psychological reasons as well that could be creating the ADHD. So not just ADHD in its original, whatever that means, labeling, but also, do you have problem concentrating from from different reasoning, right? Because you can have ADHD symptoms that don't come from the official ADHD diagnosis. So what ended up happening was that it said that I don't have ADHD, but that I have sort of psychological issues that are creating this inability to concentrate. But at the end of the day, my symptoms are the same as ADHD, except if I take some sort of medication for ADHD, it won't work for me. It does the opposite effect. It makes it worse, actually. But still, that doesn't take away from the fact that I cannot concentrate. Like, this whole week at work, wasn't able to concentrate. Now, the reasoning might be different reasoning, but it doesn't matter. The symptoms are the same. But the symptoms are the same, but because the reasoning is different, I have to find different tools to help me kind of cope. So, you know, if we go back to me masking and it's draining my energy, so I have an inability to concentrate, that kind of explains it, right? But going back to the fact that I don't need these official sort of by-the-book definitions or quote-unquote official diagnosis, I can just understand these things about myself and, you know, do what I need to do to better my life, right? So I'm all about self-diagnosis if it's used not just to, you know, to sit on the sidelines and be like, oh, I have this thing, but in order to understand myself better and help myself. So yeah, this was supposed to be a book vlog, and it is a book vlog in a way, because I want the sort of book aspect to be the leading theme of these videos and why I choose certain books to read. And I think that's enough for this video.